Welcome back to another episode of Collector's Quest. I'm Tyler here with Johnny. Johnny, what's going on?
Not much, Tyler. How are you?
Johnny, I just got back from a week of Disney World, and now
How
I
was
can
it?
give everyone all the advice on Disney World.
Okay, please do.
Don't go to Disney World. What are you doing? I'm so
What are you
tired.
talking
It
about?
was so stressful.
You fucking grouch.
Don't be a grouch. No, it was great. You know, I don't know how much I spent. $5,000 for me and my wife to go to Disney World for a week. Like, I could have gone to Carowinds, which is like my local amusement park, or, you know, if you have like a Six Flags near you, you can go there for like a day or two. You don't need to spend like an entire week of your life just like putting amusement parks into your brain. Planning everything. And then, like, because you're spending so much money, it feels like every second there, you're like, am I optimizing this? Like, I know I did, like, hours of YouTube research. Am I doing this the right way? I don't know, man.
It's a shame that you brought that up there, because that would have been a great transition to what we're about to talk about.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Keep going. Tell me why you hate joy and fun.
No,
and
it was great. The problem is, like, every park...
It was great. Don't do it.
Every park has, like, 2 rides that are, like, so good that it's like, okay, this was worth it no matter how kind of okay the rest of it is. I don't know. There's so many rides at Disney that are like, wow, this is this $300 million thing. It's amazing that they built this. It was an amazing experience, but, like, do I want to ride it again? And every park, like, has the 1 or 2 rides that, like, yeah, I could ride that 5 times in a row. But I go to, like, my local roller coaster park, and, like, Intimidator 290, whatever that roller coaster is. It's like my favorite roller coaster. Like, yeah, I could ride that like 10 times in a row because it's just a thrilling experience that has like nothing. There's no theming. There's like a race car theme, but who cares? You're just there because I like feeling forces on my body. All right, let's talk about a problem with the amusement park industry. Like, 75% of new rides are just video screens, Johnny. It is crazy. I haven't been to an amusement park in a really long time besides like I haven't been to a theme park, I guess.
I don't think I agree with you, but go on.
You don't agree with me? I'm not talking about your Rise of the Resistance that I know we both have. You've got one in California. I had one down there. But
yeah, I've actually never ridden it in California. I've only rode it there.
Oh, okay. But yeah, dude, a lot of rides are just these fucking video screens.
Which rides? See, you're being non-specific. You sound like every asshole on the internet.
There's an Avatar Land in Animal Kingdom, and they're 2 big rides. One is a river ride that takes you through, like, you know, the built-up forest, but then the things in the forest, it's all video screens behind the trees. And, like, I've got an HD TV at home. I could go play Horizon Forbidden West and see some cool fantasy shit. Like, watching that from a little boat on a ride does nothing for me because I get that same experience at home.
Okay, well, I wouldn't call that ride all screens.
It's not all screens, but there are a lot of screens. Kind of any screen really takes me out of it.
I hate any ride that's on a track.
I don't, though, because, like, Rise of the Resistance is like the most amazing thing that's ever been built. If you don't know, it's like, it has like every aspect of amusement ride. There's like interaction with staff. It takes you on a car that bounces you around. There's like a drop in it. There's like a ship piloting segment. It's nuts. But at the same time, like, it's more of a story. It's like, it's playing a video game that's a narrative-based game. Like, that's not a video game that I go back to again. It's like, okay, I experienced it and I'm done with it. And the problem with an amusement ride is it's like 4 minutes long.
And that's like kind of the modern take on like themed lands. They're trying to like immerse you in the world and then give you a few narrative experiences while in the world.
The ones that do it well, like that ride that has all like this interactive, like 3D real stuff I'm seeing that's not screens, it's amazing. But what I don't get is that people buy like Disney timeshares. People go to Disney all the time. People have Disney fucking YouTube channels. Like, what are you doing? You're going to these parks, you're just going on these same rides all the time? I don't get it. It's like watching the same movie over and over.
You know, a lot of people who are like that, Tower, they don't go on the rides, though. They just like to be immersed in the atmosphere.
Johnny, it's like $150 for a fucking ticket.
I understand how much it is, but these people are season pass holders, Tower.
It's $1,400 for a season pass. I checked while looking up Disney timeshares, as if I was going to buy a Disney timeshare. Okay. Anyway, Johnny, you don't need to go to Disney World. That's just...
I mean, it sounds like you kind of do need to go to Disney World if it's amazing. It just sounds like you don't need to go to Disney World all the time.
So, all right, I had an equivalent time to going to like my local Cedar Fair or Six Flags, but there was a lot more stress and expense. So I think if I had done like a cross country hit up all the Six Flags and Cedar Points and then just have like a $400 dinner every night, I probably would have had a better time.
See, but that's like a different thing because you're like, okay, I don't want theming or any of this. I just want a roller coaster. Just wanting a roller coaster is not wanting Disney World or Disneyland.
I understand that.
Things.
If you've got like the 8-year-old who's into Disney and will enjoy every last minute of it, then yeah, Disney World is the perfect place to go. But as an adult, we're like, obviously, like, you know, half the rides just like aren't for you, even though they kind of like are for everyone. It's okay.
Yeah, see, I don't think, because not every adult likes a roller coaster. Not everyone wants to feel their stomach in their mouth.
It's not just the thrill aspect of it. It's like the repeatability of it. There are so many rides that I ride once and it's just like, all right, whatever. I've ridden that. And like, there's good rides. Like, all right, Johnny, we're talking about Disney shit as if anyone cares about this. But like Pirates of the Caribbean, one of the most like iconic Disney rides, I could ride that shit all day. It's amazing. Just all the animatronics and all this shit happening around you. But a lot of their narrative-based rides are just not that good.
Well, and so here's my problem. So a lot of what you're basing this is Avatar, and we both think that Avatar is junk. So like as cool as the rides are in Avatar, and as cool as the land looks, at the end of the day, it's Avatar, and I don't give a shit about it.
I mean, I don't give a shit about
why do we sound
Mickey Mouse
sound
and
like
Minnie, but like there's a Mickey and Minnie goofy train ride that's really good.
I really want to go on that. I haven't been on it yet.
It's really good.
I love that. I love it. That's like been their new style of animation, and I really enjoy it.
It is a really good style of animation.
Yeah, they have shows. They have like a whole show. It's great. There's a Christmas special and a Halloween special. I highly recommend to everyone. Really fun shows. But we like seriously sound like we are not a video game podcast right now.
It's all right.
You think that's
we're
okay?
in Collector's Quest, Johnny. I also got some Disney collecting pins.
Oh, did you collect some stuff while you were there? I know your wife did.
Oh yeah, and Ada bought, I think the grand total was like 275 crushed pennies. So those like crushed penny machines where you used to put in like 2 quarters and a penny and crank it and you get a crushed penny. No, fuck that. Now you just beep your credit card up to a machine and it can dispense up to 12 at once. We got the entire Chinese Zodiac for 1 credit card boop. You don't need to bring pennies anymore. It just spits them out for you.
I'm sorry, Tyler.
So we have 275 new crushed pennies. Ada does collect crushed pennies because they are quote unquote cheap, but we bought 275 of them.
Yeah, I like
at
that
$1 each. So they cost a lot more than my Disney pins I bought.
Yeah, so you turned $2.75. You turned $275 into $2.75.
Yes.
Of non-exchangeable currency.
Disney's amazing. They're the best at capitalism.
Hey, did you know there's an interesting thing about crushed pennies? So it is illegal to mutilate currency. Did you know that?
Sure, yeah.
In the US? But crushed pennies is not considered mutilating currency in this way.
Oh. Why not?
Because there's no intent to spend. Yeah, it's a weird, like they've like subverted this area of the law, and like crushed pennies have a specific little area. It's like, yep, no, crushed pennies are fine. Like when they're crushed with designs on them, not like put them on a railroad track. That's not the same.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, it is really into them. There's actually, there was one machine that was broken, the dinosaur machine from, Animal Kingdom. Dinosaur, great ride, by the way.
Oh,
but,
is that still running? Because they're shutting that whole land down, I thought.
Are they? Oh, I mean, yeah, it's still running. Like Disney's Dinosaur, the movie from 2000, that ride apparently just rules. I don't know why. But
because it's based on, you know what? It's based on the Indiana Jones ride that they have over here at Disneyland. And instead, they themed it dinosaur instead of keeping it awesome in Indiana Jones.
So wow. That explains a lot, actually, then. Anyway, the machine was down, so I went and I bought a crushed penny for $3 off eBay. Johnny, the pins, though. Man, this is like a collecting problem. I don't even understand how there's like communities around this. So
full blown, like pin collecting is insane. Don't get into it.
But there's over 10,000 pins, like new ones coming out all the time. Like you go to certain rides and certain resorts, they've got all sorts of exclusives out the ass for these
pass
pins.
holder exclusives,
limited
that come
editions.
out every month.
Like, oh my god.
Yeah.
And then there's pins that you have to trade for, and I only learned that the last day. So they put a little stamp on the pin. They're called hidden Mickey pins. They're not rare, but you can't buy them. You have to trade for them at one of the little stalls. And so I bought like 2 pins I liked, and then I'm like, oh, there's trade only pins. I gotta just get those because I want to be a part of it, Johnny.
It's not only at the stalls. Any cast member who's wearing a lanyard with pin, you can go up and ask them to trade.
Yeah. But then like, so I thought about like, all right, like how much would it cost me to just like go online and just like buy some of these trade pins? Not that I'm going to, because like I'm doing it for the experience. But then you like go on eBay and there's just lots and lots of pins that are like $1 to $2 each, and like half of them are just fake, or it's just like there's so many bootlegs that like people buy these lots on eBay, then trade them into the park, and then in the park you're trading for bootlegs. So even when I buy real Disney pins and trade them at the Disney stall, I don't know if I'm trading for bootlegs, and it makes me not want to be a part of the Disney pin thing at all. Not that I was going to.
So the cast members do check for the Mickeys on them, and they've got a few other tells on their fake, and they will turn away people if they think they're trying to trade a fake pin.
I mean, yeah. I will say I traded 3 pins and they didn't even look at the pins I traded in. But I don't know, Johnny. It seems like a real bootleg problem. Are we?
I don't think I agree with that, but I would have to turn to the internet and ask if they think this is a problem. But I bought a bunch of those pins, didn't get any bootlegs. But I watched a guy get turned away in front of me, and this is like, I don't know, 7-8 years ago now. He got turned away.
So I like briefly looked at some of these like how to spot a Disney pin bootleg articles, and it would be like if you knew nothing about video games and then someone showed you like, here's how to spot a fake NES game. This is what a fake EEPROM looks like. You can see that the corners are cut differently. You can see that the label is a little bit too high contrast on this bootleg. You can see that this Nintendo seal of quality is like a little bit like the ink is a little bit weird. Like if you knew nothing about video games and someone hits you with that article, you're just like, fuck NES games. I don't know what a bootleg looks like. And that's kind of how I felt with Disney pins. So it's probably easy if you do it all day and you're into it. But as someone who doesn't care, I'm just like, I'm not going to spot bootlegs. What are you talking about? They like show you 2 pins side by side and they're like, test your knowledge. Which one's the bootleg? And I'm like, I don't know, dude. They're both real.
Wow. Okay.
All right. Collecting's hard. I'm just sticking with video games, Johnny.
Yeah, well, that's part of the collecting process is becoming an aficionado, learning about your hobby and developing an expertise.
All right, is that a psychological thing you do?
Yeah, I mean, it could be a transition. It is very weird because you're like, hey, Johnny, how you doing? Boom. I was at Disney World. Let me...
you went to a wedding. I went to the thing that was our last episode, and I was able to relate it to collecting. I figured I had more to bring to the table.
Sure. Yeah. I just, you were just like in like Rambo all of a sudden. It was awesome. I'm not mad. I was just like, whoa, what happened? But
Johnny, you love Disney.
Yeah. I like Disney. I don't love Disney. Like you went to Disney World and then did not go to Universal Studios, which
I went to Universal fucking Studios, which is a fucking scam, Johnny. I spent $700 on Universal tickets. It was more expensive than any Disney park.
How did you spend $700 on Universal tickets?
Because,
for one
Johnny,
day?
It was $170 for each ticket, and then another $170 for the fucking Fast Passes. And the Fast Pass takes you like maybe 3/5 of the way through the line. It's not even a real Fast Pass.
Why did you buy a Fast Pass?
Because I'm not gonna. I had to go to 2 Universal parks in one day to do it. I'm not gonna not buy the Fast Pass after spending all this other money to go to Disney World.
Wow, that sounds like sunk cost theory to me.
Also, like, talking about rides that are nothing but, like, video screens and it shakes you a little bit. That's like half of what Universal is. Forget Universal, just go to Disney World.
Did you go on Hagrid's motorbike ride?
Yeah, Hagrid's great. Fucking Velocicoaster might be, like, the best roller coaster I've ever been on, Johnny, but you still shouldn't go to Universal.
Velocicoaster and Hagrid's motorbike ride and Forbidden Journey, those are all amazing rides. And Spider-Man, I also like.
What the fuck is Forbidden Journey the one in the Harry Potter castle that just like whips you around at video screens?
That's not video screens. What are you talking about? That ride is like completely built out. It's like a proper dark ride.
Do you put on okay, another thing. What's with the 3D glasses? 3D is garbage. There is no good 3D, especially ones that you need glasses for. And all these rides require fucking glasses. They just give me a headache.
Well, Harry Potter doesn't require glasses, so I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, so Forbidden Journey is awesome. That's the one you're on an arm. You're on an armature.
Yeah,
right?
no, that's just video screens.
That's not video
You're
screens.
on an arm. Okay, there's some animatronics, but it like
no, that thing takes you on a track through the whole damn ride. It's a huge ride.
It swings you around to different video screens, and it's like,
no, it does
a dragon,
not.
And then
no,
it's like, whoa, I'm gonna swing you around to a different video screen where we see what happens next.
It does not swing you around to video screens. There's one part with the video screen at the front and at the back of the ride. The rest of the whole in between journey is all dark ride.
The amusement park industry has a fucking problem, and it is there are too many video screens and not enough real stuff. And Johnny, you're talking. Do you know did they pay the Harry Potter actors? Because in fact, they paid the Harry Potter actors because they appear on the video screens in the thing, and then you get to the end of the ride, and everyone's clapping for you, and they got like 40 of the actors from the movie clapping for you, and they all had to be paid because they're appearing on a video
screen.
Wrong.
You're wrong. That's one only at the end, and there's only like 5 or 6 actors from the film.
I seem to remember like playing Quidditch with Harry. I seem to remember like following him on a broomstick through Hogwarts. There's all sorts of video screens.
There's also a whole dark ride in there. It's not all video screens. Here's your screaminess. It's all video screens everywhere you turn. I'm Tyler.
If your ride is like half video screens or like a third, it might as well be all, because it's taken me entirely out of it. I'm not there to play a video game. I'm not there to watch a movie. I'm there to see a shitty animatronic dragon spouting steam. That's what dark rides are. Get the video screens out.
And the dragon did that. The fucking dragon's there and it spits steam at you. And then you see Dementors and you go through the Chamber of Secrets.
Don't go to Universal. Universal's a scam, and I can't believe
you
how much
are crazy
money I spent to go there.
Man, you are just mad about, like, why do you do these things? Because you're just like, I hate spending money. Because I could I could love just being at home spending my money on video games or other dumb shit. But going places sucks.
No, just go to Cedar Point.
Fucking roller coasters are boring.
Fuck this Harry Potter shit. You're going to miss out on Velocicoaster. Yeah, it's like the best coaster ever. But you know what? You probably have like 7 good
Hagrid's
coasters over at your local park.
Hagrid's motorbike, really awesome. Come on.
Like, it's really awesome, but I wasn't going to wait 2 hours to ride it again. But yeah, Hagrid's was awesome.
And no screens.
And no screens. Exactly an excellent reason that it was awesome. It had a shitty animatronic Hagrid.
And there was still a narrative, but it was still a coaster.
That was very delightful. I do really enjoy being like, I can really see where the $300 million they spent to build this went. I do like being around all the money. Everything kind of reminds me of The Last of Us 2, because I always bring this up. Like, when I was playing The Last of Us 2, more than anything, the feeling that hits me is like, how much fucking money was spent to make this game? And you do get a lot of that at Disney, which is pretty delightful.
So, and what Universal, like, they're finally starting to do with their areas, it's like things are starting to be themed lands, Disney-esque, and you're like, they figured it out. It's not just like a wasteland of like really bad themes that like they applied loosely. That kind of stuff is being taken out, and now you're starting to see like fully native lands built, and that's like pretty cool. And Mario isn't in yours yet, so you didn't get to check out Mario World.
No, I didn't. I'm sorry. That would have been more on topic than what we've been talking about for 20 minutes.
Yes. Well, I mean, that's your fault, first off. Anyways, shall we get into the episode proper? And
yeah, Johnny, what kind of psychological effects might make me so mad at the sunk cost I had in my Disney trip?
Okay, that's was that a sentence? I mean,
it was really more words. I mean, anything's a sentence if you think about it.
Yeah, anything's a sentence if you try hard enough. Okay, great. Anyways, hey, Tyler, we didn't talk very much about video games in that 20 minutes, so let's stop and not talk about video games for the next also probably hour and something minutes. Let's just talk about psychological theories and effects and principles that apply to collecting and like how people collect and what they do with their collections, and not about actual video games. How about that?
All right. Yeah, that works for me.
Oh.
Because all this collecting stuff kind of makes us crazy. Not that everything psychological has to be crazy, Johnny, but
No, but if you are a crazy collector like us, you may have experienced some of these principles.
I think we could relate everyone to things actively happening in video game collecting all the time.
Yep. So, which one would you like to start with, Tower?
I'm just going to go in order, Johnny. We'll start with the scarcity principle. Ooh, these are like real things that we're talking about now. This is like crazy. So someone who's like actually knows about psychology is going to be like, man, remember that time Collector's Quest like butchered psychology?
Yeah.
Johnny,
hold on. Full warning: we are not psychologists, and we just read shit on the internet.
What you talk about like the hierarchy of needs by that guy and the narcissism of minor details. You're basically a psychologist.
Yeah. Look, I understand a few things. I've done a lot of schooling. I'm familiar with a lot of stuff, but it is classic know-it-all bullshit. But also the internet is good and will tell you about things if you ask. But you know how you see those videos on YouTube that are definitely financial advice, but they say like not financial advice. That's what I was doing there.
Okay. Well, I hope everybody listens to us despite that disclaimer, Johnny.
Yeah, I mean, we've never said not financial advice, as we fucking shit it out of our mouths here, so that's nice. Also, good, and like, I'm glad that I gave that a nice visual for everyone. Sorry, people. Anyways, scarcity principle, Tyler. Please tell me about this.
Johnny, scarcity is an area of social psychology that works much like scarcity in the area of economics. The principle suggests that people will place a higher value on things that are scarce or limited in availability. How could this possibly relate to collecting at all?
I don't know. Do you mean that things that might be more desired are things that we perceive to not be available?
I mean, that is one thing. And you got like the whole fear of missing out because what if you don't get it? But
yeah, FOMO applies right into this. Yeah.
If you get something cool and rare that provides you social proof, so you're like, hey, you couldn't get that. You couldn't get like, here we go, like right now, Zelda limited edition, like you didn't get one and it's sold out on Amazon. Well, look at me. I'm the smart guy because I got one. That makes me a better human being, Johnny.
True. So like part of this, the increased desire and, then there's the intense motivation. And tell me if you guys can tell me if you've ever experienced this, but you're like, you hear about something, you're like, oh, that sounds pretty cool. I think I might like to buy that. Maybe something stupid we said on this podcast or something. And you're like, oh, yeah, I'm going to go look it up. And then it's like not available. And then you start to get a little obsessive about like, oh, before it was just kind of interesting. And now you really want it. And now it's like, oh, and they talked about it. And now maybe other people want it too. And now I really need to go get it. And then you feel like you're competing against others that may not even be there. You might be the only person searching for it, but this shit starts to happen to you. And this is all part of scarcity principle.
Johnny, I've got like Japanese save searches for like games. I don't even remember what they are anymore. Just because I have like so much like random stuff where it's just like, oh man, that's like some rare Famicom game. Like I got to just have a save search just in case I see it, because I'm never going to see it again once I see it. And like the only reason I want it is because I feel like everyone is going to be competing with me for that game if I ever decide I actually did want it. But Johnny, probably no one, like, how many people on Earth are no one's competing with me, at least in America, for some of this garbage. Where, like, I'm not talking about, like, the big stuff, like, just, like, the random stuff that I can't even remember what it is anymore. But, Johnny, it's rare. Therefore,
it's rare.
If I don't get it, I'm not going to be able to get it.
It's not even rare. It's scarce, Tyler. Scarce. Oh, my God. Go get it. So, here's my favorite thing about scarcity principle, though, is how people use it against you. So people will tell you, and this is like one of our favorite things to talk about, right, Tyler? Is they'll tell you a thing is rare. They might even number it. Like they'll do this with homebrews. They're just like, oh, that's all there is, even though anyone could go burn the ROM and put it in a shell and it would be just as valid. But
don't say that. Homebrews are not free software.
Not free, but it's Homebrew is the wrong example. Like,
Okay.
what I meant, sorry, homebrew people. I meant like translations of Japanese games.
Sure.
You know, your like Secret of Mana
ROM
2s
hacks. Sure.
yeah, just all this shit. And they'll like number it and they're like, look at what we did. Number like all the time walk games. And people are like, oh my God, they only made so many. And then like what will happen is people will perceive them as valuable and because they're scarce, and then they start to actually go up in value. Limited run games does this kind of stuff, and then they just start going to the moon, and you're just like, what is happening? And that's scarcity principle at work. That's it being used against you.
Johnny, there's nothing we could do about. Actually, I don't know if there's anything we could do about any of these because these are just like psychological concepts. But
yeah, I mean, it doesn't mean they're not real. Like, yeah, and it doesn't mean that your feelings are invalid when you feel this way, and people might actually be competing against you, and some things are actually scarce, but it's just recognizing, it's just the ability to recognize the thing that is causing your motivation and like, the overarching theme of like what's happening to you. How am I being pushed? How am I being pulled in this situation, and why? And people created a name for that in these instances, and it's scarcity principle.
I think the frustrating part to me is something like the sold out Zelda limited editions. I haven't looked. Are those like really hard to get? Are those selling for a significant premium on eBay?
I don't think so, because what happened is they were like, you couldn't get them, and then day of release, they were everywhere. Remember, I sent you a link. I was like, oh, they like just restocked this.
So you sent it to me, but then I looked again like later that day, and it wasn't in stock anymore.
Okay, yeah, I don't know if it's now like gone. Like I don't know if we've gotten through them, because after I bought mine, I didn't go back and search.
Yeah, but it's not on GameStop. It's not on Amazon. It's probably not on Best Buy. Let me check. But yeah, like, so something like this where, in a literal sense, they made 1 million of these. Like, this isn't the $400 weird, way too bulky Master Edition. This is it's still pretty big, but, the $129
it's way
version.
Bigger
you have to imagine they made 1 million of them.
It's so big. It's so big, Tyler.
And you go on Amazon and you see frequently bought together, and it says Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom Collector's Edition, and Zelda Tears of the Kingdom Switch Limited Edition. So the people who are buying these are literally just buying it to put on a shelf. None of these are getting lost to history. These will be out there forever. But still, when you see it sold out, it's just like, what if I can't get one of these? Like, one day. You don't even need it right now. You're just like, in my collection, I will eventually need a Zelda Collector's Edition because this game's going to be great. I'm going to want the Collector's Edition of it. And just seeing it sold out now, it drives me crazy. Even though, like, I will always be able to get one of these, Johnny. I don't know. It drives me nuts because, like, yeah, I might have to pay $200 one day if things really get that bad. Because I think they kind of did with Master Edition. I don't know about how's the Zelda Breath of the Wild Collector's Edition? Does that actually sell for a premium right now?
I have no idea. Again, since I obtained mine, you stopped thinking about it.
I mean, yeah. So if it doesn't
that's
affect
the other
you,
thing.
You're just like, fine.
Yeah.
But when you see that sold out, you're just like, everyone else has one except for me.
But it's a perfect example of like how it's enacting itself on your psyche. Because then the minute you get it, your brain, like, even if you don't open it, you're just like, it's over there somewhere. I feel fine now.
Oh,
but
yeah.
before you were in this like FOMO state of like, and like, you're in some kind of mental distress at times. Like, oh, I really got to get this. Or you're just like getting intrusive thoughts about it. But the minute it's there, even if like you haven't done much with it, you're like, your brain's like, okay. And this kind of madness that has worked on your brain, like when you see someone get like a repro of something they really want, and they just like, then they that goes away for them because they're like, oh, I that hole got filled, so now I feel okay. It's a weird thing that happens.
Yeah.
Did you?
That might be something else that's not really related to the scarcity of a thing, right? That's
true.
Some kind of substitution thing in your brain you've got going on.
Yes, I mean we're gonna talk about that too, but yeah, it's part of it. Do we need to say any more about scarcity principle?
No,
Anything else you want to say?
I think everyone understands basically rarity.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, the only other part of it is like this is the thing that leads people to pay premiums, you know. Anyways, hey, have you heard of the anchoring effect, Tyler?
Johnny, this affects everything, but yes.
Okay, so this is the cognitive bias that describes the tendency of an individual to rely too heavily on the first piece of information they receive when making a decision. You may have seen this played out in other areas, not just collecting, like in the whole world. When the world is going insane, like the first, like whatever your leanings are politically, and then you go and just the first thing or the top Google search. This is the anchoring effect. So you start making all of your decisions, like everything you know, you're like, okay, this game is rare. Hey, we might have a rarity list from back in the day that everyone's like, oh, this is the thing, or every list ever made. Mike Etler's list of 677 games that we just rely on because it was just the first piece of information out there. We all just latched onto it and we all just keep pretending that's real. Hey, what are some other games that we used to just say were rare and just went with it? Well, like Tetris. Remember Tetris? We've talked about that a million times.
Yeah, Tengen Tetris.
Tengen, yeah. Like, oh yeah, no, it's rare. And then all these other games crop up around it. We go, oh, I guess those are rare now too. No, things are just normalizing as more information as becoming apparent. But what we do is just we're like, oh, this must be the truth. And it doesn't, and you take it as truth without even knowing, doesn't matter where the information actually came from. A lot of times people don't check, but if that's the thing that gets pushed hardest and first, that's where the anchoring effect comes from. You want to talk a little bit about it too?
Johnny, how often does this happen on like heritage auctions where, in 2019, 2020, a game will come up for sale sealed, obviously not for the first time, but the first time in this, new crazy sealed market. And, you'd see a fucking Twisted Metal, or a Tomb Raider, like an okay condition Tomb Raider on PlayStation, sell for $100,000. And then all of a sudden people are talking about like, oh man, Tomb Raider is the game. This version of Tomb Raider is it's game.
The one.
Out of fucking nowhere, like one sale, and everyone knows like this market is obviously heavily manipulated. There's a lot of people who have a very vested interest in pushing certain things that they have or they've hoarded or things like that. Everyone knows the market's super manipulated, but even then people are thinking like, but it says $100,000 in the sold history on heritage auctions. So that means it's worth $100,000.
Yep.
And then you can see even like that. I'm picking Tomb Raider. It was like a 9.4A Tomb Raider, which is not a good grade for anyone not keeping track. And I'm picking on this because that is one of the most like overvalued things I could see. And subsequent sales did go down in price. But the funny part is, even though in a vacuum, people know that a sealed copy of Tomb Raider is not worth $100,000. As it was coming down, like say Tomb Raider was worth $20,000, like the next sale might have been like $60,000 just because it's getting kind of pulled up by the sale that's too high.
Yeah, by the anchoring effect. By the first piece.
It's crazy.
So you just described like the four key areas of the anchoring effect, which are price and valuation. So that's the first price that they see, and then that leads collectors to say, this must be the price, because it's the first one they say without any reasonable, thought process being like, should this have been the price? Is this a fluke or anything? Again, just the first thing they saw. And then that affects negotiations. So like when we go to heritage auctions or the next person who's trying to sell one, they start at that price, whether it was valid or not. And then again, those negotiations begin there because of your perception of value, because it's initial price valuation. So yeah, the third part is perception of value. When you're like, yep, I saw that price, it's definitely worth that. And then it feeds into the investment decision, which is the fourth part, which is again, just back to that first anchor price that you saw when you're like, yep, Tomb Raider's $100,000. So here I go. I'm like, this is an investment worthy piece. If you want it, you're going to have to pay this much, or like it also works in the reverse. So if you are thinking about buying stuff and then the first thing you saw was this price, then you start considering all of those things as like, oh, that might be reasonable. a reasonable price to pay if you are looking to buy one. So it's a powerful effect that affects both buyers and sellers.
Yeah, I mean, and in buyers and sellers, this is why you might or might not want to throw out the first price, because if you're trying to sell something, if you just throw a price out there, like there is an effect where like it anchors like that this could be a reasonable price for a thing. So I don't know, if someone approaches you with a prototype and they say like they want $9,000 out the gate versus $3,000, and you're willing to, I don't know, spend $1,000 on it. If they approached you first and said 9,000, you might say like, oh, maybe I should bump my offer up to 3,000. Where if they say 3,000, you might say, oh, I don't know, 1,500, because they're putting the first price out there to anchor it.
Yep. I mean, and you will see it like even in smaller things. Just every time you go to eBay and there's none of them or just one of them, and someone throws a crazy price out on, like they'll find something that's not listed on eBay. They'll just throw it up for a crazy price and then hope someone bites. And then people will perceive that as the value. And then like the next one that gets listed, even if that one didn't sell, you might see them trying to undercut it or sometimes going over that price, which is insane. Yeah.
So I don't know how much of this is the anchor, because the anchor is really the first piece of information, but there will be like, I'm very proud of the bump that I can see on price charting. I was like the first person on planet Earth to pay $200 for a loose copy of Kid Clown. And like you could see the data point where like it was selling for $100 all day, and it's like bam, in like May of 2019 or 2017 or something, it goes to $200. And like from that point on, people looked at it and they're like, oh, I guess it's $200 now. And the last part of the definition is that the anchor will affect subsequent judgments and estimations, even if the anchor is irrelevant or arbitrary. So even if there's just like some stupid piece of information out there, it has some effect on people because we are that stupid. Or like, or just the fact that like everything has an effect on us.
Like that initial anchor valuation, right? So they come out and they're deciding the price that you're going to see first. They may not be an expert. They could be, you know, they might sell used cars for a living. We have no idea where that came from, but they said it. So we just believe if someone said it, it must be kind of true, is kind of part of this, which is insane. That's insane, Tyler.
I mean, this is why, so I haven't really been paying attention to this stuff, but this is why it was really important. So like some graded, like high-end graded Nintendo Power 1 came up for sale a few weeks ago and sold for like $100,000. Or was it $1 million? I don't even know. But it was like really important to get that first sale really big, because a lot of people for the past few years have probably been hoarding mint condition Nintendo Powers and getting them graded. So to just have that one sale, even if that sale was like 100% fake, like completely hype sale from like one investor to another investor, there's so many other Nintendo Powers that will follow it that will be like ballooned up in price because of that sale, that sale was worth making basically.
Yep.
And then right. Johnny, one more thing on new games. Okay. Collector's editions are basically priced arbitrarily because they're giving you, you know, a statue that costs them $15 to make in a big box, and they're like, $150, $300? I don't. What are these guys gonna pay? And whatever the MSRP is basically random, but that can affect the secondary price of games in the market. So the one that actually comes to mind is I Am 8-Bit Mega Man X. And I think Mega Man 2 sold out in like a few years, and Mega Man X fucking lingered on forever. They made, what was it, 7,000, 8,000 of these?
Yeah,
like
7,000, I think.
Way too many, considering the market for aftermarket reproductions of existing games, and they were $100 each at the time. So, like, the market could not bear the price of $100. There were just too many of these, but they still sell for around $100, and I think the only reason they sell for $100 when there's clearly more supply than demand is because people have the MSRP anchored in their mind. They're like, well, I don't want to sell it for too much less than $100 because that's what I spent for it. So
first off, I'm going to make some corrections.
Oh, okay.
There was 8,500 of them. 7,500 were opaque white, and that other 1,000 were the glow in the dark blue ones.
Whoa, scarcity?
Yep. Also, You could still buy them
Oh
on
my
IM8bit right
God.
now.
Okay. I thought they sold out.
Nope.
Maybe we
Like,
were
'cause remember,
celebrating that Mega Man 2 eventually sold out.
like, because remember they did the whole turn where they went to Best Buy and everything. They even had a part like during like Christmas where they like slashed the price, like I think down to $60 on this, and it still didn't sell out.
That's so funny. I want to know what the warehouse looks like. And man, Mega Man X is like such a good game too. It's so funny that they can't even sell out of that.
Yeah. What are you gonna do? Anyways, I this game is hilarious. I told the podcast that somebody sent me one of these, right?
I'm sure you did when it happened.
Yeah. So yeah, that was very funny. I got sent one. I was like, what the hell is this? I've been sent games like 3 or 4 times through the length of this podcast, and they never they never they never don't hit well. They're always funny is what I'm trying to get at. Someone sent me Nurse Love like when I was on that whole track. So, and then like Mega Man, people like their jokes, and I appreciate you guys. Anyways,
Johnny, I don't know how many people work at IM8bit, but if someone from IM8bit listens to this podcast, I have the perfect idea for you. So these cartridges were the 30th anniversary of something, probably Mega Man. So there's a big emblem that says 30th anniversary. Put a sticker over it that says 35th anniversary and sell them as a variant.
Yeah,
someone will buy it. Like you'll have like what 100 repeat customers at least.
Absolutely.
It'll be really funny. I think that is they'll take not a lot of money and they will get a return out of that idea.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and like I don't hate IM8bit or anything. Like I can't wait to buy this Garbage Pail Kids game. I think it came out. I'm gonna buy that eventually.
Oh, definitely wait on that, Johnny. You know, NES Homebrew known for staying in stock forever and being frequently restocked. That's a lie. If you see a homebrew you want, just buy it.
Yep. I mean, there's only 4,000 of them.
That is an insanely high number, though. So that means they'll probably be on eBay forever because people just buy them because it says NES and they'll just flip it.
Yep.
But speaking of Super Tilt Bro is on Kickstarter right now. That's a game I played a very old version of a few years ago, but now it's like this full-fledged NES party fighting game like Super Smash Brothers and has built-in Wi-Fi in the cartridge. So if you don't keep up on Homebrew, that's like a really cool one. Like built-in internet play NES game. And it's a really good game. So I don't know. Just shout out to Super Tilt Bro. Go buy that.
All right. Now, what's the next effect that we got on the docket, Tyler?
Johnny, another really good one. The endowment effect. A cognitive bias that refers to the tendency of individuals to place a higher value on things they already own compared to identical things that they do not own. In other words, people overvalue the stuff that they have because they have it.
Yeah. So, and this, like, it's not just things that you own compared to a thing that is the same that you don't own, but this is a general tendency to believe your shit is worth more, whether it's the same or not. I think that is hilarious, Tyler. Like, you're like, oh, mine's $50, but if I came up and told you I had one, you'd be like, yours probably like $45. Like in casual conversation, you might say that to me.
So that,
because
I mean,
of the
like,
endowment effect.
That's like a strict definition of what it is, but I feel like the actual effect of the endowment effect is more like say Super Metroid is worth $300 and you buy a Super Metroid, and then if someone offered you $400 for it, you'd be like, fuck no, I'm never selling Super Metroid. It is impossible for you to part with something because you have already bought it, even though you could easily buy the same thing.
Yes, I mean that's also it. It's like the minute you own it, it goes up in value for some reason. Like no good reason. It's yours, so it's more expensive.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I just explain it like I don't want to go through I don't want to like find the right copy again and go through tracking it down. But like even like Super Metroid, there's probably a nice Super Metroid on eBay, and someone could offer me, I don't know, $800 for my Super Metroid. I'm sure that would be enough to go out and buy another nice Super Metroid and profit from it, even with my time spent. I still wouldn't sell my Super Metroid. I don't know if that's the endowment effect or just me not wanting to deal with hunting eBay and worrying about shipping and all that.
So I think this also kind of plays into something called attachment theory, but we don't need to go too far on that. But one of the, like, on this show, remember, Tyler, we talked about what we would sell our collections for. And what did you say?
Yeah, I think I said $2 million. But Johnny, of course, that's gone up because I've acquired more stuff since we recorded that.
Right. And
to be clear, my collection is not worth anywhere near $2 million.
Right. I mean, who knows? Maybe it is, Tyler. You don't know. You got some of those really scarce items from Japan that you eventually tracked down. Maybe it's gone up. I don't know. Anyways, but that's kind of what it is. Like, you know what you spent, but you will overvalue your stuff. You see people, this plays out in, like, if you go to a booth too, sometimes it's the worst when you see dealers get kind of hit with this. You know, even if they paid a bad price, they're locked into this price that they own it. Therefore it's worth more. Doesn't matter what the market actually did or changed. They're just like, nope, never gonna do this. So, in Tyler, in your example, that's like part of the theory that speaks to reluctance to sell or trade. So that, like, the reluctance to sell or trade an item is dominated by the endowment effect, because you always feel like you're going to not get enough or be on the wrong side of a trade.
Yeah, but it goes into, like, loss aversion, where I'm so worried about, like, if I sold my Super Metroid and I had to buy, I don't know, let's forget that I'm selling Super Metroid to buy a Super Metroid. Let's say I wanted The Legend of Zelda. I want to sell my Super Metroid and buy a Legend of Zelda. I don't have the money for Zelda. I have to sell my Super Metroid. But I can't sell my Super Metroid for what it's worth because I'm so worried about, like, losing out. The giving up the Super Metroid is a much more, like, psychologically damaging thing to me than whatever I'll gain from buying the right Zelda. And I realize that's loss aversion, but I think that plays into the endowment effect of, like, well, I own it and losing it is what's really hurting me.
Yeah. Also, that's, you know, part of the attachment of possessions. Like, there's this area of attachment of two possessions is affected by this, which I think is what you were describing. Another area, like, this is like a weird one, like, to kind of think about, but it can affect, the endowment effect can affect how you actually buy things, like what you buy. You will, because you value what you have, like, if you think NES is the best, right, you will buy more NES games rather than veer off into something else because you think NES games are the most valuable thing because you value your NES games, is a thing that can happen. So this is like...
Is that like a vicious cycle then? Because then once you keep doing that, then you have the most NES games and you have 300 complete and boxed NES games. And it's like, whoa, got to keep this train rolling. I have all the NES games, so NES is the best.
Yeah, I mean, just, hey, Joe, talking to you. Anyways, there's another area here that we've talked about before, which is pricing and valuation. And that's just, again, your perception of its value is dominated by your owning the thing. So these are areas that are affected by the endowment effect. I'm going to get real tired of saying that.
Yeah. I guess unless you have something else to say, the way to get around the endowment effect is to just price things at market value and stop having sentimental attachment to fungible items. Like, okay, if you have, like, your childhood copy of Super Mario Brothers 3, like, you're not going to sell it. But if you were selling it, that doesn't matter to anyone else. The fact that it took you, I don't know, 4 years to find the right, like, copy in this condition of the game does not matter if the market says, well, if it's an 8 out of 10 condition, it sells for this much money. Like, your copy is what it's worth to the market. There's sentimental value, and whatever time you put into it that's beyond just the market value essentially does not matter.
Absolutely. And this does affect buyers and sellers. And all the stuff we're talking to, like, it's all overlap. This is one big circle, or one pie that's just made of all of these ingredients. And we call it collecting and having this mental disorder that is buying too much garbage. So just Just remember. So you're like, well, I think this one talks that. Yes, all these things speak to each other. And that's kind of like why we're talking. All these things go together. Like Tyler was talking about, oh, well, endowment effect and then loss aversion, which we're going to get to in a minute. Yeah, they're all one thing. And also our next one, part of that is sunk cost fallacy. You ever heard of this one?
Johnny, I love the sunk cost fallacy.
So part of
Johnny,
your endowment,
I spending $5,000 going to Disney World, so I figure, well, I might as well spend $700 to go to Universal Studios.
Yeah, and you might as well spend $175 to get those fast passes, which were unnecessary. I mean, but also that talks to the endowment effect, right? Because you're in there and you're like, my stuff is more valuable because I put all this time into it. So the sunk cost fallacy is this idea that people are more likely to keep investing time and money into something if they've already done it. And the longer you do it, the more it makes sense to you to do this. So this can make you continue to acquire items for your collection. So this keeps you buying, even if it's too expensive, even if it's too time consuming. Doesn't matter. Like, why do you think Tyler and I have 100 save searches? Like, have you ever lamented that your save searches ended at 100? So this,
Johnny, you only have 100.
Well, that's all that
I know.
allowed.
eBay only lets you have 100.
Yeah. So, yeah, this, like, you're like, well, I have to keep going. I've come this far. Like, if you were collecting and you've ever thought about, I could stop collecting. Like, should I stop collecting? And you're like, I can't stop. Look at all this stuff I already have, and I haven't completed the set. Hey, sunk cost fallacy, looking at you right in the face. So this is a thing. And then that will, again, like I said, come back to that endowment effect. You're like, well, this stuff is like pretty valuable and like my stuff is valuable. Do you know how much time I spent doing this? Also, if you are selling stuff, no one gives a shit how much time you spent. Like, no one cares that it took me a long time to assemble the set. And if I was going to sell it as one piece, I would put that time into it. They just want to know the price. So you better bake your cost into that. But if you start negotiating with that, people are just going to be like, I don't care. That's sunk cost fallacy. Get out of here with that.
Johnny, you missed my favorite part of the definition, which is you'll continue investing time, money, and effort into the thing, even if it no longer makes sense to do so. Because that's really what it is. It's not just that you have put a lot of effort into this thing, which makes you want to put more effort into it. It's that you have continued down a path that no longer, like, if you objectively just took a look at where you are headed, it no longer makes sense to continue down this path. You are on the wrong path and you know it. But you already have 900 Wii games, and there's only 200 more to go, so I might as well just keep heading down this path, Johnny. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, if you don't know where sunk cost fallacy, it's a logical fallacy. So, by definition, it doesn't, like, you continue and it doesn't make sense because this is a logical fallacy. So, and you can express your logical fallacy in your collecting by continuing in the face of overwhelming evidence to stop.
Absolutely. I think this might be the most obvious or powerful effect that I see people doing. Like, Johnny, there's definitely been times in my life where I'm just on eBay, I'm on Yahoo, and I'm just buying games just because it's what I've always done. It's just like, I have all the games. Well, obviously, what do? I buy more because if I'm buying more games, like I'm buying valuable games, obviously. I'm buying games that have value to me, not like expensive games. But I'm buying things of value, and by continuing to acquire things of value, it is sort of justifying all the things that I have already purchased. So, yes, if I just have have an eBay package come in, it's just 3 more games, but that's great because I love these games, and that makes me that means that, like, man, this decade plus I put into all this other shit definitely makes a lot more sense now because I'm still doing it, so it makes sense.
Yeah, I'll break it down into the 4 major areas that sunk cost fallacy can affect a collector, and we've touched on these: holding on to undesired items, justifying additional investments, as you just said, so buying more games. Like, Tyler, have you ever caught yourself being like, well, I haven't bought a game in a while, I better go buy a game, for no good reason?
Kind of trying to stop that.
Yeah, but you know what's happened to you. You're just like, man, I haven't bought a game in like 2 weeks. That's weird. I better go buy one. It feels like I feel naked, like I'm not doing my me thing because I haven't bought a game. So I better go do that. you also ignore your changing interests. So as you change over time and like maybe your collecting is taking you a different way, or maybe financially you're stopping or you're just on to something else, but you're like, well, I'm like really interested in this other thing, but I'm going to keep kind of plucking away behind the scenes at this because I feel like I have to, back to that, like justifying additional investments. And then also a big part that like plays into FOMO is sunk cost fallacy, especially if you are spend time researching a thing and it's out there. Like you just build up all of this time into there, and you're like, well, I'm just gonna miss out. That fear of missing out, that FOMO will drive you, and that's part of sunk costs. So those are the four major areas.
I think an important one you said is your changing interests. How you can kind of feel locked into being the guy. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, well, you start to perceive it becomes part of. We'll get into the other psychology side in another episode. But your perception of self, if you don't do this, are you even you anymore? So you get that like kind of weird juxtaposition of self identity.
God damn, that sounds like some real psychology, Johnny. I was gonna say a really good example of this for me. Like I love NES homebrew, but there was a time like I was super deep into it and buying every single release. And like I'm over that phase of being into everything. But like there was a transition period where it was really hard to go from buying and researching and talking with developers and like doing everything in NES homebrew to just being like, okay, I could just be a normal video game guy, and whenever a homebrew comes along that I'm particularly interested in, then I could just go and buy and play that one. Because there's these guys, RPG collector Christian Dietering. They are the homebrew guys, and like part of their identity is that they own and play and know everything about Nintendo homebrew. And like there was part of me that's like, am I gonna try like break into the club? Am I gonna try to be one of the homebrew guys? And then once I kind of my interest shifted, and I'm just like, no, I'm just gonna kind of stick with the homebrew I like, because there's a whole bunch of factors. There's like all these NES Maker games are coming out. I can't keep up with all of them. They're of varying quality, and so like my interest shifted out of homebrew. But then there's a period of months where I'm just like, but I got to keep buying all this homebrew because like I got the FOMO, and I feel like I'm not going to be the guy if I'm not buying all the homebrew. And it took me a really long time to get over that. And I've still, of course, sold none of it because of all these other things we're talking about. But yeah, shifting interest is really hard, Johnny. Another great example is Get the Greg Games. Famous YouTuber who I think you've probably never even watched a YouTube video of, Johnny. I think he's.
I've seen him. I've seen him.
Okay.
I try not. I try not to watch him. Like Heritage Auction loves to post about him now and stuff on Instagram, and I'm just like, all right.
He is or has been sponsored by Heritage Auctions. That's why.
Yeah.
But he's selling his NES collection. That was the video he put out today. It's like not all of it. He's gonna keep like his whatever favorite 100 games, but he was a hardcore NES set collector.
Didn't he sell his N64 collection like a year ago or something?
Exactly. I mean, John, I'm just gonna say, Johnny, it is a much bigger deal to divest yourself of NES, like the biggest Nintendo console, over fucking Nintendo 64. It is so easy to sell the Nintendo 64 set and just keep, your Mario, your Zelda, and your Banjo-Kazooie or whatever.
I mean, for us.
No, for anyone.
No, Tyler. Some people, the N64 is their thing.
I mean, yes, sure, but
yeah, so
I'm still gonna say it is easier to sell the garbage sports games chaff from N64 than it is to even sell the garbage sports games chaff from NES. Because I just look at an NES game and I'm like, fuck yeah, it's NES. It's the first Nintendo thing. And endowment effect, I have a fuckload of NES games, so NES games have value, Johnny.
Okay.
But how like. For you to be, he peaked out at like 600 something NES games. He was going for like US licensed and unlicensed. Like how many months do you think it took to go from wanting the whole set and like considering buying things like stadium events and like, complete in box Panic restaurants and all that shit to completely selling everything off except for your favorites? Like there's no way that was a weekend decision. Like there's so much sunk cost. There's so many hours, years of collecting NES that you have to get over and just be like, I'm not as interested in the NES library anymore.
Yeah, I mean, he must have had something, again, a change in interest. And for some people, it's easier. Like, here's the insidious part about this. Everything we're talking about will hit people at a different level. Some people, it's going to be like a 1, and it's not going to be a big deal. Other people, these things are going to hit them at a 10. And there's going to be this range. It's not just like, this is a thing, and once I understand it's a thing, I can, like, move past it. This is enacting itself on you in, in a broad range. And it's more nuanced than just being like, oh yeah, I understand.
Yep, that's very true. I think it hits us hard because we have a whole podcast about video game collecting.
Oh yeah, well yeah. So
something wrong.
It's like here's a fun thing we're talking about, like, because this is my favorite part of it too. The changing of interest. Like, think about the last time you changed a hobby. Like, what were you buying that you stopped buying and then went hard in a different way?
Oh, Johnny, I'm a big Disney pin collector now. I've got 6 Disney pins.
Okay, so you're done collecting? You're done collecting video games now.
I'm just looking around my room for like dead hobbies, Johnny. I got another pin collection. I got these PAX pins. I've got every pin that PAX put out from like 2013 to 2016. So what about that?
Yeah. So here's the other thing, and this is like part of all of this stuff. Some people will see their interest change, and they will they'll tack on other hobbies onto it. They won't just they'll let a hobby kind of die, but they'll always just stay with a hobby. And some of them, that fear of their changing interest, they'll just keep it in a quiet, like, background way, even if they should have moved away from it, and then just start stacking hobbies on top of it, and not be able to fully move away. So
I've got fucking hobbies I've completely moved on from, like zero interest anymore. Like Lego. Like, I am so out on Lego just because I like the space is just 0% worth it to me to do Lego, and I still just have Lego sitting around. But metal dice, Johnny, do you know how hard I was into metal dice like 10 years ago? You think
metal
like
dice
I'm
are the
crazy
worst.
with video games? I think I was the only person in the world, like, checklist spreadsheet of every like commercial metal die that was ever released. I bought a forge to make my own metal dice. This was a terrible experiment, not really something you could do in a suburb. Forges turn out to be really loud. But yeah, like, I don't give a shit about metal dice anymore. But because now getting back into sunk cost, I spent so much time researching, buying, and documenting metal dice. Like, I could never sell this collection. Like, this stuff must be worthless. Like, so many of these are just like random, like, one-off dice that, like, I can't put this on eBay. No one's gonna know what the fuck this is. But like, some of this was like really hard for me to acquire. So,
and you can't just get rid of it.
And endowment effect, it took me fucking forever to like track any of this shit down. So I mean, even if it's worth $4, if I put it up on an eBay no reserve auction, like, I just can't sell it for that.
So please do us a favor, and in the Patreon, please post pictures of your dice collection.
Okay.
I would like to see it. I would also love to see a spreadsheet. I've got a couple of metal dice here, Tyler. I wonder if you have them.
If they came out like before 2013, like, I guarantee I do.
This one probably came out around 2013, the one I'm thinking of specifically. It's
a
metal dice that has like a cog. Like, it's like for Magic, I think it was. Not specific.
I don't know. There's a lot of metal dice with cogs in them. But before, like, I don't know, there's been this real rise of like maker culture. Like, it's really easy to just make whatever metal dice now. Like, you could, like, that's not a problem. It's a freaking metal square. I could probably go to 100 different websites and have like a custom fabricated metal die, no problem. It was not that easy like 10, 15 years ago. So whenever like a metal die would come up on Kickstarter, like how I get excited about NES homebrew Kickstarters, I'd be like, oh yes, there's a new metal die on Kickstarter. Like, I would get excited like that, Johnny. And I'd have no one to talk about it with because there's no metal die collecting community.
No.
This all came about because I used metal dice as counters in Magic the Gathering just because metal feels cool. And I'm like, man, these really feel cool. I want more of these. And because of my brain, it turned into, I want all of these.
Oh God. Our brains are the worst to us.
Yeah.
Just the fucking why?
I mean,
Why are you this way?
See, it was the first thing I collected where there's no end to the set, so I didn't know how to approach it. Like, the correct way to collect something like that is whenever you see a really cool metal die that you want, you buy it for your collection. But I didn't have, like, I was deep in, like, set collecting NES at the time. So my thing was, I need to find every metal die that has ever been commercially made and buy them all. Which is a dumb thing to do.
Oh my God. Your collector brain is so stupid.
And like, yeah, and then I'm like going on Etsy and I'm like finding like there's all these like little private forges. And what they do, like they make all this cool metal shit and then they have like leftover lumps of metal and they just make like shitty wrought iron dice. And I would buy all these stupid wrought iron dice from like every random store on Etsy. If you had a store on Etsy in like 2012, I bought your metal dice. Oh my God. It was a crazy time in my life, Johnny.
I love this about you, Tyler.
Sunk cost. I can't sell any of it. It's worth too much. I spent too much time researching that stuff.
So anyone who is hearing any of this and feeling bad, remember that Tyler's a happily married individual. So someone will still love you.
She puts
yeah. I mean, you can find people to love you. I'm just saying. Like, this doesn't make you a bad person. It just makes you wrapped up in your own brain. There's probably drugs that fix this. I don't know what they are, obviously, or I would have fixed myself a long time ago. Anyways, Tyler, what's our last theory we want to kind of talk about?
Johnny, we did touch on it. Loss aversion. The tendency for people to feel more pain from losing something than pleasure in gaining something. Johnny, loss aversion, the reason that casinos are in business, the reason that the graded games market is a thing. We don't want to lose anything, whether it's me having to sell my Super Metroid or missing out on the Zelda Collector's Edition that just came out. If I missed out on that and that goes from $130 to $200, it hurts me more to have missed out on that, quote unquote $70 than it will have been than it will have felt good to have got that and for the collector's edition to have gone up in value. So for that reason, it might make more sense to me in my stupid brain to buy 5 collector's editions, and if one of them goes up in value and the other 4, go to 0, I still feel good about the one. I'm like, haha, I bought the one collector's edition that went up in value, and don't care about the ones that fell off.
I know some of that was falling into loss aversion. I put some additional notes there, but like one of the biggest parts of loss, this is all like an emotional response. So like one of the biggest areas where you can identify where your loss aversion is coming from and how you can see it like play out in collectors. GameStop. If you were ever this person, I went to GameStop, I sold my games. I have so much regret. You will never take into account all of the good deals that you have found. Like you'll be proud of some of them. But what will be more prevalent in your mind is that time that you went to GameStop and they ripped you off. You may never get over that pain. It's ridiculous, but it's true. Like one good deal you found for $2 is never gonna hit emotionally the same way as losing. Like, doesn't matter that you got that great deal. The things where you lost are hurting you more.
Okay,
so
that's why
think of that GameStop.
That's why what I said did make sense, and I just didn't realize it at the time. So you have to buy those 5 collector's editions, because if you don't buy the one that ends up going up in value, even if you're at a net loss, it will hurt you too much to have missed out on the one that goes up in value. So say that the 5 collector's editions are all like $100 and one of them goes up to $200 and all the rest go to 0. It doesn't make sense to buy all of them. You should just buy the one that ends up going to $200, but it will hurt you too much. Like you never want to pay for something more than MSRP because you're like, oh, I just missed out. This sucks too much to buy it. So you end up buying everything in the hopes of finding something that goes up in value. That is the cool thing to have.
And another example of this is, and this happens in collecting all the time, you have an idea, you have price memory of what the item is, and you're like, that's $50. And then it's like $200, and you're like, I can't, and then you're like, I'll never buy it, even if it continues to go up in price, because you're like, oh, that loss, like, oh my God, this perceived loss of $150, even though it's not really true, is still affecting you from that moment. So price memory, is a hell of a thing. And we have like our 4 elements that make up loss aversion, that have to do with like actually the stuff you own and why you won't get rid of it as well. We can touch on some of those real quick. Did you have anything you want to jam in here before I touch on any of those, or
no? Go into it.
Reluctance to part with items is one of the key components. So again, it's the idea that if you sell it, it will be worth more. This is again applied all the way up through all of this. And then you like, what if you had to buy it again and then you sold it and didn't get enough? We talked about that a lot. Emotional attachment to the item. Again, these deep emotional moments is the GameStop stuff I was talking about. Because you are like, your nostalgia will kind of trap you too. So nostalgia and like the GameStop effect, they will trap you into just keeping the things because you don't want to feel that, especially if you know what that feels like, especially if you take a lot of pride and like, if you look, it took me a long time to make this set and look how good it looks. Now, if I get rid of it, I'll just, even if it makes sense, right? Like I can't pay my rent or this, I don't even like this stuff anymore. That weird emotional pride you have will keep you from doing what might be the right thing and getting rid of it. It will, again, it does everything. It'll impact your decision-making. It's a major bubble of this. Obviously, again, you will be hesitant. You will be fearful. You become risk adverse because of this particular effect. And again, it will create the endowment effect in you because you will start valuing your stuff more than it actually is because you own it and you are afraid to lose it. So, and like, that doesn't matter what the fair market value is. It doesn't matter if people are trying to negotiate with you. You might just stick to a bad high price, just because, and this is like a lot of sellers too. So if a seller, another example, like if a seller has bought something and they say a phrase like, well, I got to get 50 for this. I got 50 into it. It's like, what does that matter to me? I'm looking at the fair market value. This is a $35 item. I'm not giving you 50 for it. I can go buy it elsewhere. This is not incredibly rare item. You're like, well, but I got 50 into it. That's like sunk cost and loss aversion, like colliding to make like the worst possible thing happen in collecting, is like, you're just dealing with someone who is completely unreasonable because of these things are impacting them. And I know we've all seen that seller. So try not to be them, but if you are them, I understand.
And something you have to consider with loss aversion is the opportunity cost of not just realizing a loss. So if you invested $2,000 in Deathloop Deluxe editions for the PS5, which currently sell for $10 brand new, like that money is never coming back, and it might only continue to go down. So yes, you will take whatever 80% loss by selling that. But if you just hold on to it forever, I mean, this is like investing advice. Not that you should be investing in PS5 sealed video games, but you could go down with the ship forever. But if you just sold it at that loss and put that money into something else that could potentially go up, you can free yourself of the sunk cost. I mean, you have to realize your losses to put that money somewhere else. And that is something that you are not getting if you are just completely unwilling to ever sell anything at a loss, basically.
Right. And that goes into like how I will talk about liquidity, being able to quickly churn through things if you were like, especially if you are a seller or if you are divesting, like just get the money you can get, because you having the ability to have capital is value. So loss aversion affects this, these kinds of things just have wide reaching effects, especially combined with sunk cost. Just affecting you being a better collector, or if you're an investor, that as well. So some of this stuff can be pretty insidious.
I mean, what we're getting from this episode is don't collect video games. Yeah, you're gonna have FOMO, and you're gonna pay more than something's worth because you're gonna think, what if it goes up? I don't want to be the guy who missed out. then I will have lost, and I will be averse to that loss, Johnny.
So I don't know if I'm saying don't collect video games. What I'm saying is be aware of these things and be a smarter collector by knowing about them, or just know that this shit is happening and just be like, this is fine, and continue on like we do.
I mean, yeah. Like the hardest part about it is something like sunk cost fallacy being 900 games into the Nintendo Wii set, when objectively that's the worst decision in the world, and you know it. Like you know it. You know it's the sunk cost. You know it's a bad decision. You know it's not the right place to spend your money. You know you're missing out on like there's a huge opportunity cost in both time and money to continue to track down 200 stupid Wii games that no one, including you, cares about. But you just keep doing it because you're like, yeah, but I have these 900 Wii games.
Whoops. I think I've made a mistake, Tyler.
I'm sorry for forgetting. Have you completed the Wii set?
I did.
Okay.
I did complete it. Yeah,
I'm sorry that you did that.
Not me, Tyler. Look at my sweet collection. Do you know how much time I have invested in this, Tyler? I couldn't possibly stop.
Johnny, I think I do have an idea of how much time you have in it, because like you were at PRGE and there would be like a $20 game. You'd be like, no, 15. I'm going to dicker over every last dime for this collection. And I realize this because you have to buy 1,000 games. But yes, you spent a lot of time collecting all those Wii games.
I sure did. Stupidly. Tyler, do we have anything more that we want to say on this?
Not on this episode, I don't think.
Right.
I guess people should tell us if they enjoyed this at all, hearing about things that our brains are doing to us, or we should just talk about like collectible PS3 games.
Yeah. Do you want more? Look, I mean, I like that we have a variety of episode types that we like to go to, and I like to throw in the psychology episode once in a while, but we have a whole list of more that we could talk about. So if this was interesting for you, we have more.
All right. Cool. They're going to be like, get an actual psychologist on the show. Guys, what are you doing?
Yeah. Okay, Tyler, now that we've got through all of those psychological effects that affect you, do we have a collector's question?
Johnny, Ryan Garrow asks, here's a scenario. You buy an item, you receive it, but see that it is not as described. I'm just going to cut the question off right here. I do everything in my power to avoid having to communicate with another human being or have to return this. But for the sake of argument, I'm going to assume I have to return this for the remainder of this question. You communicate with the seller and they are quick to respond and refund your money. You've wasted your time and dopamine, but the seller is easy to deal with. What kind of feedback are you giving? This is an easy question because if you're dealing with me, if anything goes right, you get positive feedback. And if it's like the worst experience in the world, you get no feedback. So that's me. I'm the guy. I want no conflict whatsoever. I won't give my Uber driver 4 stars.
So I will this is probably a no feedback situation for me because I don't want to ding them, but I'm also not positive on them. And I feel like neutrals are actually negatives. So
neutrals are negatives. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, like unless they went above and beyond for some reason, or it wasn't their fault, it's not as described, then like I'll give them a positive, but yeah. But the minute anything like this is the worst thing. Cause I just had this happen. And I had to return something, Tyler, a thing I don't love doing. But I just bought a CD set. I know what a CD set, but it was specifically the Beatles mono CDs, and there's a lot of fakes of those. And I just wanted it to have the whole mono set. I was just going to rip them and then like store them where all the other dead CDs went. But there was like $75 or $80 or something. And that was like a pretty good price. So I took the gamble on it knowing like, what's the worst that could happen? And it had pictures that looked legit. It was not legit. The seller didn't know because they were like they were a thrifter, you know, you could tell by their allotment of things.
The random
they just go to
shit
thrift
they had for sale. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, they've got a hat, a Beatles album, 2 Nintendo games, a thing that charges battery. Like it's that kind of junk. So, the guy was super nice to work with and everything, but yeah, he wound up not getting feedback from me just because I didn't want to. I didn't want to say anything negative. I didn't even want the hint of negativity in my positive review.
Yeah, I mean, assuming you're not me, just like my, I'm not going to say that story. Yeah, I don't think that something like that would warrant negative feedback, even if you're like a harsh feedback giver, because the whole point of feedback is like, do I want to deal with this person? And if someone is easy to deal with and they just had a shitty picture or something, or had a shipping problem, like if they're easy to deal with, I still think they're basically a good seller.
Yeah, absolutely. If they're doing what they can, like the seller asked me, it's like, hey, can you give me like a couple days to figure some stuff out? I was like, sure, no problem. And then they came back and they're just like, full refund, send it back to me. They did their best to make it easy, and they were responsive and stuff. If the response had been like, hey, look, you sent me a fake, you probably didn't know. And they're like, fuck you, it's not fake, or who cares? It plays the same, or like some kind of response like that. Then I would have been, then we're talking a different story. Or if they would have been like, well, my auctions say no returns, is a favorite statement of mine. Just like, okay, well, we'll see. We'll see how this winds up.
I've had a couple of people. I really don't like try to make a fuss over things if people fuck up even. But, sometimes like one particular in my head is I bought the Zelda Oracle games on Game Boy Color. And at the time, it was like probably like $300 for the pair, maybe $200. Like those are expensive games. They're complete in box cardboard Zelda games. And they shipped in a bubble mailer. And I specifically requested that they ship in a box because you always do that. And like they gave me like some kind of thing like, well, they still play, right? It's like, God fucking damn it. That is not the point. And like that, if people have that kind of attitude, like I'm not going to negative feedback, but I don't know, maybe you should.
Maybe you should. You definitely should.
Because like that's the case where like even if I will get my money back because it's eBay, but you don't want to deal with a seller who like is completely callous with the condition of their items and just does not care about collectors because when they're selling collectibles.
Also, if there's one of these people who are out there turning over games and then like putting them on eBay because they know there's a market for them, even if they don't care about the games, they should get dinged because that's going to help out the next buyer. Because they're going to like, I can't get negative feedback again. I might as well put this thing in a stupid box, right? So, I think feedback is a valuable tool. I think it should be leveled appropriately. Obvious, like I don't want to just like be like, well, there was a little nick and screw you, negative feedback forever. Like I don't want to be rude. I don't want to create a problem. I don't love conflict. I don't mind it. I'm fine if we have to get into that, but I would rather not. My hope and desire is that everything goes smoothly and I never have to speak to you. Like Tyler, you're like, I don't ever want to talk to anyone. Me too. The difference is I will more often if I have to. And my have to level is closer to the surface than yours.
See, you say feedback is a valuable tool, but I think there are a lot of people like me who just won't give negative feedback, even if it is like on like if we're saying that above average is positive feedback and below average is negative feedback, even if it's not a completely horrible experience, like I should be giving more negative feedbacks. But I think there are a lot of people who just don't want the conflict because obviously there are so many like big power seller whatevers who can only get so many negative feedback, and then they'll like start fighting you over it, which just makes your experience even worse, and it's just easier not to deal with it. Well, so I kind of think feedback isn't that valuable as a result.
I don't know. So I think just seeing, even if it's only a couple, but knowing that the rate of people who will actually do that is lower. So making it weigh even heavier when you see any, I think is important, especially if they have a bunch of feedback in general, like your power up video games, like you start to see consistent pattern with them, right? And through the negative feedback they have, even when they fight you on it. So, and you know that they attempted to fight and get people to change the feedback that's left for them by bullying. So you will see, like, if I see their negative feedback, that's like not one counts for like 10 for them. So, so you can start to see that Well, I don't think it's useless. I think I don't think positive feedback is especially useful. I really like the way Macari handles it. Actually, if you don't say anything, then it just becomes a positive 5-star review or whatever. If you don't give them, like, if you don't have the time to put something in, you can about multiple areas. I wish eBay would do that. Just like, okay, we're gonna assume, or I'll let you put in an assumption like, if I don't give feedback for these items within 30 days, please default to this feedback. I would love a system like that.
And I mean, I think what you said, where like, if you see negative feedback, it means there were probably 10 people who didn't give negative feedback. And I mean, yes, that is kind of the way we work around the system. Because I see if someone has like 96.5% feedback on eBay, that's like an A+ on an objective scale. But you see like 96%, you're like, holy fuck, this person's just gonna send my shit in a plastic bag if they have 96% positive feedback.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That 96 is not a 96.
Yeah. So like that's such a weird system. Like I get sketchy if like you don't have 100%. I'm going through your feedback and I'm gonna find out like why don't you have 100%. And sometimes it's like, all right, there's some like crazy person here. Like, all right, obviously you couldn't do anything about that. But there's like 3 negative feedbacks. I'm like, all right, what's going on?
But you said it's not useful. But look at just how you use it. You use it correctly.
Okay, I guess it's useful. I'm just not contributing to how useful it is. I'm all take and no give.
Agreed. Stop
it. Johnny, let me go find the other question. I remember it was weird. Shackfish6 asks, in 200 years, with mankind mostly wiped out following massive population loss from an unpredicted solar flare, it's going to be nuclear war or climate change. Only PAL region remains, and there is but one game historian in all the land. He recommends to children a single game to represent the 2D era. What is this game? What? Only PAL region remains? Are they even going to know what like video signals were in 200 years?
I don't know, but like, let's just pretend we had to recommend one game to represent the 2D era. I'm going Mario 3.
I don't know. I mean, Mario 3 is like one of the best representations of the 2D era, and like it's like one of the most complete with game mechanics and stuff. It's really hard to think what would even be playable in 200 years, because like you can't even thinking of like books, like culture has changed so much that like we don't read a lot of 200-year-old books, and there are some that hold up to time, and we've talked about this on the show. But with something like video games, where like just the way we interact with screens like changes every like 10, 20 years, it's nuts.
Also, I was considering like 2D, like does the Super Nintendo era still count as 2D, even though like they started to fudge like 3D graphics there?
I mean, yes, I would say I'd say you're basically representing everything from like Space War up until, Super Mario 64 or Doom or something.
And then I'd probably do Mario World. Just what a wonderful game.
But
or you could do like Super Metro. Like again, I think we just like point at our historical document and say like, here you go. Also, Mario was just the biggest character, so even though I think Zelda is a better game and like Metroid is better, Super Metroid, I still might just point them at that. Or like if they need time to, it's weird because like, oh, the 2D era, it's like, oh, if you really wanted to like waste some time, then maybe here's Final Fantasy 3 or something. But it's PAL era, so Final Fantasy 6. Also PAL, like what's the weird PAL restriction?
I don't know what the PAL restriction really does for this question. I guess there's games that didn't come out in Europe, but like all the good ones would have. So
yeah, and we would be talking like it's not like I'm gonna like be like, well, because it's PAL region, like we can only talk about days before Christmas or something.
All right, no one in 200 years is gonna sit down and play like Super Metroid. I don't think people in 200 years are gonna sit down and play Super Mario Brothers 3. Because like in a realistic sense, it's going to take you some amount of hours. I know you could blow through it in like 2 hours if you know what you're doing. But if this is an ancient, archaic 200-year-old relic, people are not going to figure out like how to use it, or it's going to be like so simple. I don't know. Maybe like platformers are just like so simple that they it just is meaningless to them. I'm just gonna go with Donkey Kong. It has too many important historic firsts. The platformer genre represents the 2D era the best of anything. It kicked off narratives more or less, basically.
Boring.
And you can kind of get the idea of what it is in like 5 minutes. Which when you're talking about kids playing a 200-year-old game, that's all they're gonna play anyway.
You know what's going to happen if you recommend that? They're going to be like, this is what people were into? Dumb. This
exactly.
Is stupid.
Yes.
Yeah. No. Then you're going to like show them Super Mario World.
What are they going to play in Super Mario World? They're going to play up to like the first switch that the switch, I don't know what they're called, exclamation point switch that's like 5 minutes into the game and be like, all right, that's enough of that. I'm going to go back to VR Fragfest where if you lose an arm in the game, you lose an arm in real life, because that's what all the cool kids are playing.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, everyone's going to hate, especially kids are going to hate any video game in 200 years.
Probably. I mean, I can't predict what the world's going to look like then. They've all got like cybernetic chips, like a pulse is going to like kill half the people because their brains are going to stop working because the chip that makes them what they are suddenly fails and explodes in their brain.
Man. All right, those are our questions, Johnny. What are you buying?
Right.
And what are you playing?
What am I buying and what am I playing? Tyler, how dare you ask me that?
Oh.
How dare you? Hey, I bought some Disney games. Remember we did this episode on Disney stuff?
Yeah, did you get Matterhorn Screamer?
I sure did.
Nice.
And I did Mickey's Space Adventure. And hey, I got a little Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. It's like a weird half case. It's a digital download code and a coin that was only sold at Best Buy for Jedi Fallen Order. It's like a weird Vita size case. It's not a Vita size case, but it's about that.
So it was a download code and a coin
in a box that looks like an Xbox One box, but is not. It is like half the size of it.
So I don't know anyone collecting the Xbox One set, but that is such a weird does it count. Like, not even just a digital code in a case, it's a digital code in a mini case. Is this like a thing, or is this a one-off for Star Wars?
No, there was a whole series of them. I may have made a list of them about 3 years ago because I have a sickness. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I did buy that, like a Matterhorn Screamer. I bought what's called Mickey Space Adventure. I bought Mickey in the Great Outdoors, which may or may not be the first Mickey game. Who knows? I bought Zelda. Like, you may have heard of Zelda. I also may have bought Jedi Survivor for the Xbox, which I know this is something you really wanted to talk about last week, Tyler. How, and for some reason, for some godforsaken reason, the collector's edition sold through limited run game for the PS3 and the Xbox are different. Okay, look, it is this big, unsightly, stupid box because it comes with a lightsaber. The lightsaber is very cool. That's why you buy it. But they put like this cardboard overlay and like a really tight foam cutout and not an easy way to retrieve the lightsaber from it. So you wind up dinging the cardboard. This is not the issue between the two systems. This is universal. But the Xbox one, your game comes packed on the top in like the shipping box. There's another little box in there and it has the game on top. And you're like, what the hell is this? Why is this? And you're like, okay. And then you pull the lightsaber out and there's a bottom area that has like your steelbook and you're like, hey, this is like X of this many. And you're like, okay, cool. I got a cool certificate. But then you're looking and you're like, well, there's enough space for a game here. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, that's really weird. Like, they definitely could have put this game in this box next to the steelbook. Also, even with Zelda, like, guys, please stop with the steelbook. Like, if it's a steelbook, just make that the only case. Stop giving me, like, I don't know what to do with these other cases now. Just put it in the steelbook and put a slip cover over it or something. For God's sake. Anyways, I digress. So I was looking at this, and then I'm like, I wonder, like, I don't even know why the thought hit me. I'm like, I wonder if it's different on the PS5. Why would it be different, Tyler? Is there any good reason that it would be different? Would you ever even think that to yourself? Like,
Does the
I bet they
PS5
would...
have slightly smaller cases?
No, it's the exact same size case.
Okay, I don't know. No, it should not be different.
It should not be different. Would it even occur to you, like, build this into your knowledge? You know the cases are the same size. You know, and like the PS5 cases, the corners are a little more rounded, you know, but objectively the same size. The amount of space in there, you know, you could have cut it for Xbox and the PS5 one would have fit in there. Would you even consider to check to see if they were the same?
No, Johnny, that sounds like a crazy person thing to do.
Right. It does sound like a crazy person thing to do. So I didn't know why I was doing it. And then I'm like, all right, I'm going to watch this unboxing video of it. Sure enough, the PS5 one is in the bottom of the fucking box next to the certificate and the steelbook built in. So the Xbox version comes outside the collector's edition, a thing I hate. The PS5 version is packed in. I don't know why, Tyler. I don't know why it's different. I checked multiple videos. What the F?
Johnny, I'm going to have to tell Dan Gomez to plug his ears for this one. And maybe it's because PlayStation games are collectible and Xbox games aren't.
Oh.
No, I don't. We need to like boycott this. And I don't know what you could do about limited run games where you like buy a game and get it in 9 months, but people really need to just reject the concept of collector's edition games where the game just comes separately on the side. It's like if you bought a 1 in 50 like limited edition comic book cover variant and they just gave you the cover and like the whole idea was that you just staple the cover on yourself. That doesn't fucking count. That's just a separate thing. So, like, I don't know how we don't buy these, but I guess all the people like complain about everything with limited run games, like, just go on their Facebook group and just, do they have forums? I don't know. Wherever people complain about limited run games, YouTube, they need to just make lots of videos with YouTube face complaining about this thing, because I hate it.
Yeah, but I don't, like most people, why would you even know? If you just bought the PS5 one, you would never go look. And if you bought the Xbox one, you would never think about it. You would just be like, this sucks. You have to be insane, like me, to be like, I wonder if this is different.
How limited were they? Were these both like sold out kind of things?
The PS5, yeah, they all sold out. And the PS5 had a higher print rate.
So, yeah, they definitely cared more about PlayStation, because I would imagine more people want to collect PlayStation versions.
Yeah, and there was even less on the computer, because it was for the PC as well.
Yeah, I mean, did you look at an unboxing for that? No, because no one bought it.
Yeah, there was no videos of the PC version out. No, there's a lot of Star Wars nerds that were buying it for the exclusive lightsaber.
I'm trying to think of how this could even happen.
Also, here's another complaint. Like, so these are the same lightsabers you'd get at Galaxy's Edge. I don't know if when you went there, you saw them. They come in like these cool plastic boxes that like open up and your lightsaber sits in there. For this one, they're like, let's make a shitty cardboard box that has a flap and the lightsaber is incredibly hard to get out of this. You're just like, cool, thank you for making this worse. And then you go and you look at the one that they did as an exclusive May 4th release, a couple of years ago, the Cal Kestis lightsaber, and it comes in like a special box. It's just like, what? So many dumb things with this. Hey, Tyler, do you want another example of a dumb thing that happened?
Sure.
Just like this? Hey, Final Fantasy Pixel remasters. Guess what? If you bought the collector's edition, all that shit, the Japanese collector's edition got 2 books and we didn't, but we're paying the same price and they got a better book. God damn it, that sucks. Also, the game's not packed in. Mine just came in a bubble mailer inside of the shipping box, which was really stupid. I was like, oh. Also, you fucked up if you bought the Switch version. The PS5 version the PS4 version is more collectible and more expensive on the secondary market already.
That's interesting. Right. But I guess, I mean, I associate Square more with Sony, so it kind of makes sense. But also those games are Nintendo games, so it doesn't really make sense. I don't know. What a wild world.
Look, it was a dilemma I had, and I want to be like, well, it's like Nintendo, and I think I'd rather have a Switch game, the Switch version, because usually those are more expensive than the PS5 version of the same, or PS4 version of the same thing. And I went, but this is a reverse, so kind of interesting. And that's that's even if you look at just going like through Play Asia, same thing.
I don't buy a ton of modern video games, Johnny, but I have a sinking feeling that the future, especially a future if physical games really stop being a thing, but getting kind of the game on the side is going to be something that people don't like, but they're going to keep buying it, so it's not going to matter. So they're going to, because there is some kind of like packaging foo, there is some cost to making a bigger box and to putting the thing in the box, especially if they're just giving you like separate stuff that they bought on the side. Uh, and I think we'll probably see more of that, even though people complain, and I hate the idea of it. Because like this was not a thing 5 years ago, definitely not a thing 10 years ago, and now we keep bringing it up, and I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like it either. And like, here's a tip. If you're worried about space, just remove the steelbook entirely, or remove the other dumb case. Just, please. Or just like put it in the steelbook. I know that's like that's not a production cost. That winds up being a labor cost associated with it, because it's not like in a factory like that. They just print the steelbook in a separately different place and shove it in the box. But I hate it. I still hate it.
Oh, that's why they don't. Yeah, all right. Yeah, so like it intuitively makes sense. Like just put it in the steelbook. But yeah, like all those machines are set up to package, 4 million PlayStation games at once.
Yeah, like please start making steelbooks bigger than the actual games, and that way I can just put the whole case of the game. Like, don't leave a space for the cartridge. Leave a space for the regular case in the steelbook. That's what I want now.
Oh, that's a better idea, because that gives the regular case a reason to exist. Have it like snap in, so when you open it, it opens both of them. Johnny, that's such a good fucking idea.
Thank you.
And it makes all the sense in the world.
Yep, you got a place to put it.
That's so frustrating that you just thought of that.
Yeah, sorry. Anyways, I got a good idea once in a while.
Oh, because like no one uses steelbooks. We have steelbook collectors who just like collect steelbooks. Are there games in there? No, there's no games in there. It's just a cool steel case. But you could put the game in it.
Yep.
Oh, and you're thinking about this like just at the end of like physical media even being a thing. Like the idea is too late. It is a good idea though.
Anyways, anyone, like if you know someone, sell them that idea. Tell them Collector's Quest sent you and let them know. Anyways, that's what I bought, Tyler. What did I play? I played Jedi Survivor. I know most people are playing Zelda, but I went to this wedding and I was gone for almost a week, because I was the best man in that. And I had stuff to do for it. Obviously it was a very nice ceremony. Everything was beautiful, but it didn't lend itself to playing video games. Jedi Survivor came before that, so I got a couple days to play that and like, do what I could there and make some progress through like trying to make sure all of my work is done, knowing I'm going to be gone and stuff. What a sucky time for two like big games to be coming out, and Pixel Remaster also like in the same window. Got like Pixel Remaster, I got I got Jedi Survivor and Zelda I all want to play, and I think there's some other game, like another good game coming out next month. I can't remember. Anyways, it's all very frustrating.
Johnny, I saw some YouTube face videos about Jedi Survivor. I know nothing about that game, but I know it's garbage and you shouldn't play it. So just don't even worry about that one.
No, it's really good. I'm enjoying it.
Okay. Yeah, I literally know nothing about it.
All right. What'd you buy? What'd you play?
Johnny, I think for maybe the first time since probably around, this might not even be true, but like 2013, 2014, when I was like pretty deep into pinball restoration and competitive pinball, I had video game collecting on the back burner. But I have not bought a video game thing since April 9th, which is not true because I bought Zelda.
Not true. You bought Zelda.
But I bought Zelda like the day before it came out. So I think from April 9th to April 9th, I bought the Lightning Force manual. I think from April 9th to May 9th, I did not buy a video game thing. And that might be the first time in like a decade that's been the case. Then I bought Zelda.
Hey, that's crazy. Oh, hey, Tyler, before I want to just shout out to Forgotten Freshness. They sold me a Lawnmower Man for the Genesis that I forgot I also bought.
Oh, right. Cool. Yeah, shout out to Forgotten Freshness. That guy rules.
Yeah, great. Love interacting with them. Always real good to me.
So yeah, that's my local store.
You didn't buy anything.
I was going to college.
What did you play? Because you also played Zelda.
Yeah, Johnny, I bought Zelda twice because I had to get the regular version and the special edition because with Breath of the Wild, the case that came in the special edition was a not for resale case, and I need both versions, Johnny. I'm really happy there's only 2 and there's not 3, because that would have been just annoying to buy 3 of the same thing.
The case in the collector's edition and the master edition of Breath of the Wild are the same.
Okay, yeah, but you'd still have to buy the separate standalone retail release.
Unless you just bought the box for one of them. You just bought the master's edition with everything in it but the game and case. You're like, technically I could complete this in time. Does it count? Or do you have to have 2?
Well, yeah, I mean, I could have just bought the special edition of Tears of the Kingdom, but I still need the retail Tears of the Kingdom, so I have both versions of this. Like, I don't care about Breath of the Wild anymore. I mean, I do. That game's awesome. But, Johnny, this game's crazy, and I've only been playing it, like, a little bit. Like, I don't keep up with, like, modern game trailers and, like, people analyzing things, but, like, this game is Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts 2, which is the craziest thing I think I would ever say about a Zelda game, because Nintendo is a company that does not really take risks, and then they took a risk with Breath of the Wild, making it, like, this really good, interesting, open-world thing, which is not the traditional Zelda game, unless you're going back to, like, the NES era. And then this game, instead of just completely rehashing it and doing the same thing again, which everyone would have loved, we're making vehicles with magic and batteries and fans and wheels, which I kind of hate this. A trip.
I kind of hate that. I don't want. I kind of like. The more I hear about it, the less I want to play it, because I don't love crafting in games. I think we've gone over this. Like, I don't want to make a salad, okay? I don't want to cook a fish. I want to adventure through fucking temples, okay? I don't want to have to craft items. I don't like it.
You're not going to like this game, Johnny.
I've got this feeling that it's like, can I just play it, or do I like to make a good weapon? Do I got to go make my weapons now?
Oh man, your stuff breaks so fast. Your weapons are gonna be just shattering left and right.
Like, where did my like? Do they explain where my unbreakable master sword went?
Yeah, they do, Johnny. Like, the very first thing that happens in this game is Link breaks the master sword. It's so fucking funny.
Oh my god!
I feel like it's a deliberate reference to how much people hated stuff breaking.
Yeah, they're like, you hate stuff breaking? Oh yeah, take this. Man, fuck you, Nintendo.
I mean, so the cool thing is, I love Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. And the cool thing with this game is that when I'm making stuff, like, they put kind of obvious puzzles. They'll be like, here's a lake. Like, one of the tutorial puzzles is there's a lake that you have to get across with a boat, but the wind is blowing against you. So you just have to figure out how to, like, make something that can deal with that. And it's not like they give you 3 logs and the correct motor and, like, something to keep you straight, and you just have to obviously put it together the way they want you to put it together. Kind of 2/3 the things that I'm building are just, like, super janky, and it feels like I wasn't supposed to solve puzzles that way, but that's, like, a really exciting way to solve puzzles in games. Like, if you feel like you didn't solve it the correct way, that's how developers should make you feel like you're solving puzzles. So, I mean, I haven't played it a lot so far, but I really like it, which is a really controversial opinion considering it got perfect scores absolutely everywhere.
I mean, I thought you were unhappy with the frame rate.
I mean, yes, I am, and it's ridiculous that it got perfect scores everywhere, because literally any other game on planet Earth would get crucified for the graphics of this game. It runs at like 20 to 30 frames a second, and the graphics are not particularly good because it's a Switch game and it's doing a lot. It's got a huge open world and all that. I mean, it looks good artistically, but the Switch couldn't run Breath of the Wild. The Switch still can't run Tears of the Kingdom. Someday in the future, like, I know there's 60 FPS mods for if you're going to emulate it on PC, but it's a little bit wonky. Like, someday they'll have it perfectly running in 60 FPS, and then they'll remake it, and everyone will be like, oh man, I thought it was perfect when it came out, but now it just looks so much better. Johnny, it's crazy that I'm dealing with a game. Like, you press a button, like this happened in Breath of the Wild. You press like a button to use one of your magic abilities, and the frame rate just drops to like 15 frames a second for a little bit. And it's like, we're dealing with this in 2023, guys? I wish they made a Switch Pro before they released Tears of the Kingdom. I would have bought the $370 Tears of the Kingdom Switch if it was a Switch Pro, and they just gave me my frames, Johnny. I want my frames.
Does the Switch OLED one, does that have better performance at all? Did they make?
I don't think it does, or I would have bought one.
Like, even if, like, is it even, like, slightly better just because newer chips or anything? That's what I don't know.
I mean, I don't think it's going to help Tears of the Kingdom's problems. Yeah, no, it says it doesn't have performance improvements. And I only play on a TV, so it doesn't matter.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I got the controller. I'm excited to not open my Switch Pro controller because it has a white handle. Just a pro tip, white handles are the worst. Please stop making white controllers.
Why? Then they'll get gross and dirty and you'll want to buy another one and have the shiny new white one.
I guess that's true. All it makes me do, it's just like one white nub too. I'm just like, what are we doing over here on this controller? I don't love the design of the Zelda Switch or the controller.
So what do you mean? The Switch itself or the box? Because I think the box is ugly on the console. It's not like the worst, but it's got like this big circle, doesn't it? That's like... No, maybe I'm crazy. I think the circle's not that bad. I thought it was worse.
No, it's mainly... It's like the design on it itself. I don't know, like... Yeah, they made it like green and gold. Not the controller. The controller is like black and gold, which I liked. If this whole controller would have just been black, Tyler, it would have been fine. I don't understand why part of it is just white for no like goddamn reason. What is happening on this controller? Like, it doesn't make sense. It like reaches up and like swallows part of the design. It's
Johnny,
a
just
really
don't
nice
open it. Have you ever considered that? Have you ever considered maybe just buying 14 different Switch Collector's Editions and just not opening any of them?
I have considered that because I'm an insane person. But I didn't. I didn't buy the Animal Crossing one. I haven't bought any of these other Switches. I did buy this one, and I bought this controller because it's Zelda. And you know how I feel about Zelda. But did you look at the controller? It's ridiculous. Just one of the handles is just white.
People, I don't like it, but I'm not a special edition controller guy. I would take black or, blue and red Joy-Cons. Fuck Joy-Cons. I don't like Joy-Cons at all. I don't even know why I'm considering looking at this. But
no, this is a Pro controller. This is a full Pro controller.
Oh, you're looking at just the controller. Oh, I thought you were looking at the special edition OLED Switch. Okay.
No, look at the controller, the Pro.
See, the thing is, because it's Zelda, people are going to say, I see so much just one random white handle. That's so stupid.
Like, it's so dumb. If it would have just been black, it would have been really nice. What the hell is happening?
In 20 years, when this has like some age to it and like it's not the most common thing in the world to see, people are going to be like, oh yeah, the Zelda Pro controller, that one's the coolest, even though it's got this stupid white handle.
Yep. And like, I don't like the Joy-Cons. To me could have just been like solid gold, maybe with some filigree, like the green circuit board look. I don't like that. I don't like it. I think that's ugly.
All right, like what's going on with this Pro controller? Did they like run out of black rubber at the factory or something?
I don't know. It's so stupid.
This is a problem. Otherwise, the controller looks awesome.
Right? That's why it's like, oh, look at this sweet kid. Oh, nope. We had to fuck that up. I don't get it. And it's again like if we go back to the console, like, okay, like, couldn't you have made that whole thing gold because it's Zelda? Why is it white? Like, this is like a thing people touch. Please stop. Like, kids, it's going to be so gross looking. And the back of the Joy-Cons are white on both of them. Why? Why are the back of the Joy-Cons white?
So you don't.
So
use
when you're looking
Johnny.
at the back of your Switch,
this is going to create scarcity in the future because you won't be able to find nice ones, and then the 3 million people who kept these sealed will be like, "Oh, mine's in perfect condition."
Look, I just, like the back of the Switch console is all white, right, with a little bit of gold accent. The front of the Joy-Cons are gold. The back of them are white. Just make a full gold design then with the white in the center. But they just have like one giant part that's just mainly white. It's like, looks like the gold rubbed off. I hate it. And then like the green in there suddenly doesn't make any sense because it's just a random color that is not tied in anywhere else. Just like, what the fuck is happening? Why? And it doesn't follow the same design as anything else. This is so stupid. What?
Johnny, this isn't like me to say this, but who cares about the dumb collectible tchotchkes? You should just play the game. It's really good.
I am going to play the game eventually. Once I finish Jedi Survivor, I don't want to bounce around.
All right, I understand.
I'm so annoyed. I can't believe more people aren't annoyed by this. Also, like everyone who like rushed out to buy the special edition console, man, you can still buy that thing everywhere. They made 1 billion of these things.
Yeah. I really like that they didn't include the game because they know you're just going to buy it as like your second or third or fourth Switch, and they want you to buy the $70 game
couldn't
in
you
addition
have just, like,
to
made
it.
Couldn't you have just made it like $20 more and included the download of the fucking game?
It is that's a 450, like, assuming you buy the game with it, which literally everyone on planet Earth is going to. That's a $450 collector's edition console. Man,
if you bought the collector's edition, you're like, woof, you're getting up there.
Yeah, getting up
because
to
some people
over
like
500. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, some people like me are stupid. And then if you bought a Pro controller too, you're an additional dummy.
The funny part is, so when I bought the collector's edition and the standard edition on 2 different days. So when I got the standard edition in the mail, I'm complaining to Ada, like, video games just cost like $70 now. Isn't that crazy? Meanwhile, I've spent like over $200 because I bought both editions, and I'm just like, oh, that's fine. Well, it's Zelda. They really, Nintendo has it down, man. They know how to get us to buy the same thing more than once.
Oh, it's probably like one of those psychological effects we didn't talk about, just prevailing over me, making me justify all of my insane purchases. All right.
Also, Johnny,
should have bought gold.
Oh yeah, gold is really interesting. Besides Zelda, Johnny, I've been playing a very rare type of video game that I only think about when I talk with Joe, but there are amusement rides at these theme parks where they just put you in like a car with like a laser gun and you shoot things and it gives you score at the end. So these arcade games? What do these count as?
I don't know. Like, I know Joe wants to figure out what these are called and like the things in the back of airplanes.
Oh, we had this whole episode on games you can't collect. I don't think this even came up because I wasn't thinking about this stuff, but like the entire ride, like whatever, Buzz Lightyear Star Command Shooter, whatever these rides are, like that's a video game, Johnny, and you can't collect it. And we didn't think about it.
The Toy Story ride at all the Disney parks.
Okay, so you have one of those too. That's crazy because that's not even like the Buzz Lightyear one has like animatronic stuff and stuff moving all over.
Yep.
Like the Toy Story one, literally you're just in a car and it moves you in front of a screen.
They could literally make a Switch game out of that.
Yeah, it's just a video game, and then they move you in front of another screen, and it's like a Wii shovelware game, and it's fun, obviously, because you're on a ride. But it's just a Wii shovelware game.
Yeah, you could literally play that with one Joy-Con, and then you could give your friend another Joy-Con, and you could literally both play that.
The crazy part is I'd probably buy it. I'd be like, oh yeah, that ride was fun. Let me buy this $30 representation of that.
Yep, I would do that. More games can't collect. All right. Is that it? Did we do it? Did we do the thing? I think we did it, John. All right, we did the thing. Hey, guys. Thanks for listening. I guess that's it for the show. Tyler, I'm trying to like get to your social media, but then I'm like, oh, you're a digital hermit now. You don't really have social media. Tyler, where
Discord still counts as social media. They're an evil wannabe big tech company that's stealing all your data. And I'm still on there. So you can find me on the Discord. I guess I don't know what my username, maybe it's default gen. Did they take out the numbers already? I know they're taking out the numbers. No, it looks like I still have numbers. So good luck figuring out which default gen I am.
Yeah. So if you want to make it easier on yourself and you want to talk to Tyler, you can join our Discord by becoming a member of our Patreon, which you can do for $2. And that gets you just in the door to the Discord. You can hang out with all the excellent members we have there, really good community. Or if you want to pay $4, you can get the additional content that we do. We do something called an After Dark episode. And they are just Tyler and I talking about whatever, or me talking to, our most recent one was me talking to a member of our Discord about his time at Club Penguin. So if you like stuff like that, or Tyler and I rating movies and fighting, Yeah, that's what you get for that extra $2. And that's at patreon.com/collectorsquest. And that's it with promos. You can find me on our Discord and occasionally on Instagram. That's it for the show. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.